As you're well aware, there were multiple incidents of violence in the North Clinton Avenue neighborhood in the early morning hours today, stemming from the overnight. I have a media release in front of me that you've also been given. So rather than read from the media release, which it was a very complicated night, and although Captain Umbrino has certainly done his best, I think maybe if I just paraphrase and try and put in plain language what happened. So we had officers in the area. We had an expanded detail last night due to the ongoing events. We had actually enforced a special order using the gun violence emergency. We had closed Samuel Torres Park, which is a park right there on North Clinton Avenue, early, and we had maintained a presence in the neighborhood. I had extra officers on duty trying to maintain traffic flow, prevent any impromptu parades, as we know sometimes pop up around this time of night, trying to prevent groups from loitering and keep them moving on. So at approximately 1 a.m., while my officers were up at Clinton and Oakman, the first incident occurred, which was a shooting down at Clinton and Siebert. Hang on, I gotta find my place now. Clinton and Siebert was the first one. Now let's be clear, all three of these incidents that we're going to talk about, although they were close in geography and in time, appear at this point to be unrelated. So the first shooting occurred, officers went, they were tending to the victim. At that time, a few blocks away, they heard the shots from the second shooting. We also had, and was earlier reported that it may be related, a stabbing, which we thought had stemmed from the fights on Clinton Avenue. Investigation has determined that that stabbing actually happened in another location and was not related to these events. So officers had two crime scenes to contend with, as well as groups that, although there were groups present before, more began to flood the area. This wound up being a 47-car response from the RPD. Our partners from the Sheriff's Office, our partners from Irondequoit Police, our partners from Brighton Police, our partners from the New York State Police, all came to assist us with maintaining these scenes and trying to handle calls for service in the city of Rochester. So, again, based on a review of what we have in the video, it started with a fight in the street with a group of females. As the fight was going on, the shooting at North Clinton and Siebert Place, 1 block south, takes place. Does not appear to be related to that fight. You can see the crowd fleeing the area upon hearing the gunshots. 2 minutes later, the second shooting at the corner of North Clinton and Scranton occurs. It's obviously early in the investigation, so I can't give too many more particulars. I can tell you we recovered 2 weapons last night, multiple casings. As our status right now, I have a detail on Clinton Avenue that will remain on Clinton Avenue until the foreseeable future, from Clinton to basically Upper Falls. I have 15 officers in place right now. Mobile command post is there. I'll be relocating down there shortly to manage operations for the day. Now, as you know, we do have the Puerto Rican Festival closing tonight at Innovative Field. We had already planned for the parade and for those events to go on. So we may have to adapt some of our plans, but the bottom line is we had already ordered officers in. We will have hundreds of officers working tonight. We will have, in the Clinton section, the Clinton Avenue area, our traffic posts that we usually have after the Puerto Rican Festival. So there will be road closures, there will be traffic points. All told, you're going to have several hundred officers working tonight, including, again, our partners from the Sheriff's Office. The State Police will be in. As of yet, I don't have a commitment from the towns. I don't foresee a need for them, but again, we will modify our plan through the day and we will adapt as we go. But again, folks can plan on coming to the festival. We have everything in place. Everyone's going to be working, and we will do what we need to keep the citizens of Rochester and the festival goers safe. I'm going to turn it over to the mayor at this point.
Thank you, Chief. What happened last night is extremely sad in our city. When you have multiple fights at 1 a.m. in the morning, it's just totally unacceptable. And if there's one message that I want to give to folks in the community, people who are influencers, go home. There's no reason why we should be having people fighting at 1 a.m. We had multiple fights, and then these aren't just fist fights, because guns are so prolific in our community that when you have individuals where back in the day it could just be a fist fight and then people would break it up and go home, people are deciding to pull out guns. So these multiple fights at 1 a.m. on Clinton Avenue led to not only people being shot, but people losing their life. And obviously our hearts goes out to those families. But this is all preventable. There's no reason for a petty spat or a silly fight between known individuals to escalate into gunfire and endanger the lives of, number one, innocent people who live in that neighborhood, but also individuals who were out having a good time. But fighting at 1 a.m. in a neighborhood, I want to remind people that Clinton Avenue is a neighborhood. People live there, people sleep there. This is not just party town where you go and party late into the night while you have residents that are in bed. And that's what happened last night, multiple fights. I've watched some of the video. And it is literally individuals deciding that they want to settle a beef by fighting. But that also gets to the point that there are multiple witnesses, individuals that were involved in the fight, individuals that stood around and watched the fight. So folks know who pulled these weapons and decided to shoot. And they need to make sure that they come forward by calling major crimes at 428-7157, or Crime Stoppers at 423-9300, or emailing major crimes at cityofrochester.gov. If you want to do it anonymously, you can use the Reported app. There are multiple ways in which people can come forward and report what they saw last night. But I want folks to know that most of this was, and it wasn't that there wasn't a police presence that was there. There was a police presence that was there. It was on a street over. But individuals still decided that they wanted to show out at 1 o'clock in the morning and fight. And you heard the first group was a group of young ladies that got into a fight. We should not be encouraging this type of violence, particularly when it leads to gunfire. And I think that is what we need to make sure that the message we send to folks in the community. We need to make sure that people are say to their friends, let's go home. Go home. Let's go home. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. We're not going somewhere in particular. We're just hanging out. And then that hanging out is being led to a fight. So we will continue to monitor this. We have the festival going on, obviously. Those plans might be modified. We continue to be in touch with the festival organizers. The organizers of the parade canceled the parade for this morning. We respect their decision and support their decision. But this type of unnecessary violence has got to stop. And we're going to continue to do everything we can to address it. There is help out there for individuals that want to choose another path. But this here, ladies and gentlemen, is just lawlessness. Because some of the individuals involved in this are old enough to know better. We often talk about our young people. Yes, sometimes young people are involved, but there are people who know better, that at 1 o'clock in the morning, you should not be fighting in the middle of the street. So our hearts go out to the families. Obviously, this is very early in the investigation. I want to thank the team at RPD for their investigative work that they have already put in, long hours on Friday as it relates to this, and having to contain multiple scenes and multiple fights of people fighting. So as the chief said, we will adjust our posture down on North Clinton Avenue as necessary, using every tool that we can, but we need the help of the community. And one of the biggest ways we can use help is to say to someone, look, if you got a beef with somebody, leave your gun at home or get rid of your gun. Because temperatures flaring, alcohol is involved, and it's late at night. That is not a good recipe for peace, period. 1 a.m., guns, alcohol, fights, all mixed in together. This is the result that we got. So we ask for the help. And again, I'll just reiterate. 911, major crimes 428-7157, Crime Stoppers 423-9300, major crimes at cityofrochester.gov, the Reported app. There are multiple ways to report whatever it is that you see. And the last point I make is that this could be anybody's loved one that was shot or hurt last night. And wouldn't you want someone to come forward, particularly if you know something? Particularly if you knew an individual that was carrying the gun and decided to fire it off. I don't know how that person can sleep knowing that they decided to fire a gun in a residential neighborhood at 1 o'clock in the morning, all because of a petty fight. Please come forward, and at the end of the night, go home. 1 o'clock in the morning, go home. Encourage your friends, family members, ask your friends, parents, do you know where your children are? Spouses, do you know where your husbands are? Friends, do you know where your other friends are? They should be at home at 1 o'clock in the morning, not hanging out on the streets involved in fights. And again, our hearts go out to the family. We'll take a few questions. Chief?
So, Chief, how are you going to be getting the help from the Sheriff's Office and State Police to handle the detail on Clinton tonight and throughout the weekend?
So, like I said, this is something that we plan for every year. I mean, if I showed you the operational plan, it's literally about that thick. We handle this every year pretty effectively. We may change our tactics if the times change or things change at the festival site, but we're definitely ready to go. We had everything in place. Okay, thanks everybody.
All right, thank you.